Is everybody angry? I'm pretty angry. Wow, this is going well.
Damn, Chris.
Netflix Network. Watch movies.
I'm not angry.
Talk movies. Your online movie friends. Netflix Network.
Welcome back to the Flick Network episode. I shouldn't say the episode number because I think it's 4, but I could be wrong. I'm Dave Moore. Joining me, of course, is Shy. Hi, Shy. It's your birthday.
Hi, David.
Happy
It's my birthday. Thank you.
Did you?
How old are you today? 21?
I am 26, so not far off.
Oh, you're so young. You're so much
I know.
younger.
Oh, you're so young.
I'm a little
What?
baby.
Did you say 26?
26.
Oh.
I'm a little baby.
Oh,
Yeah.
what cartoons did you grow up watching?
I still got to watch like Looney Tunes and stuff on Kids WB, but then I ended up with like Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon, and so like what was on Cartoon Network?
Ed, Ed, and
Powerpuff
Eddie.
Girls, Ed, Ed and Eddie, Dexter's Lab, Cow and Chicken, Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Which just proves they're just showing the same stuff both of our childhoods, although we're quite far apart. Also joining us is electrical engineer by day, Jeff Daly by night. Hi, Jeff.
Hello.
Hello. Guys, this is the Flick Network. We watch 100 of our bucket list movies from... I got it. Our scratch-off poster of 100 bucket list movies.
Which is still yet to be scratched off.
I know. Guys, listen. Jeff, I had to edit a bunch of Snack Network videos of you and I tasting snacks like Flamin' Hot Cheetos, Carolina
The
Reaper.
Carolina Reaper.
Yeah. So
I just saw that video.
yeah, that went up today, but this episode will come out probably a week from now because that's where we are now. Because of our weird Tuesday once recording. We're a week behind, guys. It's okay. We were supposed to watch Amelie.
I'm glad we didn't.
Wait. We didn't watch Amelie? Oh, shoot.
You're joking, right?
Yeah, I'm joking.
Okay, good. Because it was definitely discussed.
Here's the thing about Amelie. Let's talk about Amelie for 2 seconds, and then we'll move on to what we did watch, which is 12 Angry Men. But Amelie's not available, like, legit anywhere. Like, the only absolute option was to buy it, to attain it legitimately, was to buy it from Amazon within Prime, like, within the Prime Video app. Like, that's it. That's the only choice. It's not in iTunes. It's not in movies like anywhere. Like, it's not. I was.
And it's in French.
I was prepared to just order DVD copies and then just mail them. Like, not an option, not a choice.
Mail them where?
To
To
Shy.
us, I assume.
Yeah, to you.
I mean, I would have gotten it one way or the other.
Yeah, see, yeah, listen, we need subtitles and things and, VPNs for other purpose. Like, it's not worth it to go through that hassle. Like, I want to just be able to watch these movies.
Mm-hmm.
And so, 12 Angry Men, 12 Angry Men was just available. So we skipped a movie. We will go back to Amelie. I promise. We will.
Eventually.
Maybe.
Maybe. We'll
I
consider.
make no promises.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a really good movie to watch.
The internet insists that it's on Disney Plus because it's on Disney Plus in other territories. It's not in ours.
It's not for
Let's
us.
get a VPN.
True.
I have a VPN. It sounds like a lot of work.
It's not.
Listen, we'll watch it. I just didn't want us to all be panicking to get it done by today, to watch it by now.
What's the benefit of a VPN?
To download a bunch of movies.
Well, besides that, why do you have a VPN, Dave?
To download a bunch of movies.
I think
you
it's
never talk
technically
about-
supposed to be protecting you from things, but I'm not sure.
I don't trust Spectrum for 5 seconds to have any of my information either. But
Oh, no, they're definitely not hiding your information. I mean, the main thing of a VPN is to basically protect your IP address so people don't know where you're at.
yeah, or tell your ISP what you're doing.
Yeah.
But VPNs are almost unnecessary. I needed it for like one project. So
Ah.
yeah.
Well, guys, one sec. Keep going.
Okay, we're gonna let that happen. Jeff,
Yeah.
so you didn't
How
watch?
angry are you?
Oh, I'm so angry. Everything about this
Yeah?
movie makes me furious.
I've never been angry a day in my life.
That is a false statement, Jeff.
You think it's false?
I mean, you tell me.
Do you have any proof?
I mean, I've known you basically my entire life.
Are you telling me I get mad?
I have a clip of you yelling about your podcast somewhere. I can dig
About
up
my podcast?
About
What do you
your-
mean?
Yeah, I'll find it. I have to message Johnny Casino. No, he's got it available and ready to go.
I got mad when you told me that you something I remember in our Snack Network stuff.
Yeah. Anyway,
But I will say we watched 12 Angry Men this week,
yes, we did.
and I wouldn't describe as 12 angry men. I would say 11 reasonable men and one very angry man.
I feel like that's accurate.
I did just go out and just buy it because I had seen this movie previous. I apparently did not own it, so I don't know where we watched it the last time we watched this movie,
We did not.
or the last time I watched this movie. But I love this movie, so I just bought it. Like legit.
This was my first time watching this movie. I had a blast.
I remember watching it before.
I watched it on a website because
Okay.
I'm broke and I was not going to purchase it, so I watched it on a website.
Oh,
And it
legit.
was great.
A legit website that does not require a VPN.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
Jeff, you'd never seen this movie until now.
I think I have. I watched it, and I remember bits of it. I think I had to watch it once for a class,
Hmm.
and I don't remember it, but it was very familiar.
That's the question: is did I watch it in film school? Is that where I watched this, or did I just watch this? I can't remember the original time I watched it.
And I could see that they'd watch it in film school. They say, you don't have to have a high budget to make a good movie.
Yeah, that's the big argument. Is 98% of this movie takes place in one room.
I
Where's the
thought
other
that was
2%?
so cool.
I thought it was all 100%. Oh well, you're right. The first 2 minutes where they're
Yeah,
in the
they're
court.
in the courthouse.
They show the
courtroom.
They show the courthouse from the outside. They show the courtroom
Yeah.
for a little bit, and then they have one bathroom scene,
Yes.
and that's literally the only changes in area.
Yes. Correct. I thought this movie was so cool because I've never seen anything like that, at least to my recollection, where the whole movie is literally just a discussion, debate situation in one room with like the same handful of people.
The same
And-
12 people.
Yes, the same 12 people. And it was just really interesting for me to see. And I kind of feel bad that I never saw it before because it's so old.
It
I should have
is
seen it.
1957's 12 Angry Men. I looked at when this movie's supposed to take place. It does take place roughly in 1957, so it's not like set any previous further back than that.
Yeah. Hmm.
You know, it's also pretty. I mean, yeah, it's 12 people. It takes place mostly through them. It takes place in the 50s. This movie came out in 1957.
Yes.
Could you imagine in 1957 going to see a movie, Dave, and you watch this movie in the movie theater?
You know what's hysterical and shy, if you get a chance later, I'm sure it's available on YouTube. Get Joe to make sure he reads the titles for you. Is the trailer for this movie is hysterical. It is
Really?
It is so funny. It'll be like explosive, and then it'll be like somebody yelling, like it's like the
Oh,
most
God.
the
They
most
tried to make it like an action-y.
yeah, it's the most dramatic thing you've ever seen. Like it it is something else. Because it's just 12 people in a room arguing about one thing for an hour and a half. Like,
Okay. So, but like, why is it so good? Unless either of you has an opposite opinion.
Jeff,
This movie is really compelling.
I think it is so good because the like dynamic of the argument back and forth is just, it is nonstop. It is a competitive, basically, battle the entire time, and yet like there's also these moments of this guy who's just like, I don't think we know that he did it. like
He's just like,
You
I don't
know,
know.
the unique thing is you don't know anything about the court case, and you find out through them deliberating about it, the details of the court case.
there's something so amazing in them about them being like, yeah, in this room, they're like, this knife is super unique. It's crazy. If you guys haven't watched this movie, just go watch it. It's stupid.
Yeah.
Go watch it. It's so good.
And it's an hour and a half that goes by actually surprisingly quick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's rapid fire. But like they're like, this knife was so unique. It's unlike any other. And the dude's just like, yeah. So I went like the other day and just like walked around his neighborhood, went to the store and bought the exact same knife.
Literally. And then, like, to the point where they were even forgetting further down in the conversation that wasn't the knife.
Yeah.
But they're like, look at the knife, it's right there, and he stepped his down with it. And then the guy's like, but that's not the knife, remember? And you're like, oh,
You've been told. Like,
it's so good.
yeah, no, like every moment they're just like, it's just rapid fire,
It's like
putting
just
holes.
so snappy.
holes in every argument, and it's just like, I sit here and I watch this movie and I think, if anybody's curious for the thing, it's a jury. They're arguing about a murder case, whether the guy did it. One guy of the 12 people on the jury thinks that it's possible that he didn't do it. That's it. He just thinks that
At the beginning, yeah.
That's it. He
And
doesn't
it's so
even
where
say the
it's not
person
just
is innocent. He just says, it's possible.
it's not just a murder case. It's like the murder of a kid who murdered his father, and for some reason that's going to warrant the death sentence by electric chair if he's found guilty.
And it's 1957. We don't know where it takes place. It's also just a bunch of white guys in a
It takes
room.
place in New York City.
Yep.
Like, oh yeah, it does, because they talk about baseball. This entire story is so compelling and so good that if you look at the trailer, you look at how old this movie you're like, oh god, like this looks terrible. Like this looks like the worst, stupidest thing ever. And yet, like once you're in, like you can't even stop. Like you're just like, it's fascinating.
You get invested because it's like, it's not only just like, okay, these 12 white dudes yelling at each other. It's like
Even though
what
it
they're
is.
discussing is the human experience. Like they have someone's life in their hands. That person may or may not have taken another life. And then the relationship between the victim and the assailant, the fact that they're father and son.
Yeah.
And this is a room full of men, some of which have children, and like there's so much like of the little details that stack on top of each other that make this so compelling and so human and like relatable in a way. Not really relatable because it's the 50s and they're a bunch of white dudes. Like I don't relate to you, but like relatable in the sense that like they're human beings discussing life and death. And some of the things that they're saying, you can be like, huh, yeah, I would agree with that. Or like, I disagree with that. And you start to get invested in the discussion and try to figure out which side you're on. Like you put yourself in the argument. And I think that's what makes it so good.
Even to like, it's, even though that none of these characters truly have names, right? Like
No, that's another amazing thing. You only get to know like one or two
names at the very end of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like so, every juror is just like a number essentially.
Jury 1, jury 2, jury 3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And yet like you're like, but I care about the old guy who's like, yeah. So one of the witnesses is this old guy who could barely walk. He could like barely get in. Do we actually think he could have gotten across this room in 14 minutes, and it's just
yeah,
he's like
15 seconds.
but
Yeah.
yeah, but the old guy goes into like a monologue about how like he's like this guy just wanted attention. Like there's like a personal connection to the idea of this entire thing. You're like, oh my god.
yeah, it's crazy. And then they start talking about reasonable doubt, and it's like getting it into their heads that we're not discussing whether they're guilty or not guilty. We're discussing whether there is reasonable doubt. That's what the discussion is. But it's like so easy. It's so easy to forget that. Like you get hyped up in the conversation and you're like, well, he's got to be innocent because blah, 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 or he's got to be guilty because this, that, and the other. And it's like, well, that's not what we're discussing here. We're discussing whether there's doubt or not.
Yeah.
And the fact that the discussion can last so long proves that there is.
There's something about this movie that it's like, I think before you go on a jury, now I've never been on jury duty. I've gotten out of it every single time. Complicated reasons. But it's like, I think before you actually go on a jury, I think you need to watch this movie. Like, I think it should be required viewing. And not only that, like, you should need to be able to prove that you have watched this movie.
I was thinking that while I was watching it too. I was like, I'm glad I've seen this because if I ever end up having to do that, you know, this is like an interesting frame of reference. Because I don't know about you, but I've always been curious about like what goes on in there, you know, because some cases the jury's deliberating for like weeks, you know.
Yeah, it's not that you're trying to prove whether this person is innocent or not. You're trying to prove, or like you're having a debate whether it's like, are you 100% sure that this person did this thing? Because you're convicting them of being guilty, in this case for murder, right? Like, that's a big weight to put on this. Like, if there's any question at all, that's what we need to decide. Is like, if there's too much of a question that this person did it, then we didn't prove they did it. And that's a wild thing, right? Like,
yeah, it's crazy to think about.
The wild thing that keeps being brought up too is that it's like, well, how come the guy's lawyer didn't point this out or that out or this out or that out? And it's like, well, it's just a court-ordered attorney.
Yeah, he's like not invested.
That lawyer didn't want to be there. So like, we need to look at everything we have on this table and every piece of evidence and every witness we witnessed, right?
Yeah.
And determine whether we think this is all accurate. Like,
yeah. And there's so much in here. There's even, in the discussion, there's even some definite classism going on.
Oh, 100%.
You know, with they grew up in the slums and, like, people from the slums are trash and blah, 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 blah. And then one of the guys is like, I grew up in the slums.
Which
is
is
like, hey, man, I didn't mean it personally. I was just saying. Like, and it's like, you see these biases that exist in the jury as well, and you're like, okay, well, this is why they try to do that, like, quote unquote non-biased stuff.
And the one juror was definitely very biased towards everything about the guy.
And it's a little...
to where he kept refuting himself at points, to where they caught him up in like him like saying, like explaining exactly what they were explaining to him, and he still chose to believe that he was guilty.
Yeah.
It's amazing how great this movie is. Like I'm just gonna sit here and gush all over this movie for the entirety of this show.
It's the perfect movie that proves that you don't need a huge budget or a lot of scenes or anything spectacular to make a very compelling and good movie.
Yeah,
this movie is literally just good writing and good acting. That's it.
That's it.
That's all it is.
And that's amazing. And there's something to be said about the filmmaking and the way. Like,
well, yeah, sure.
But like technically,
as a consumer.
Yeah, as like from a technical like aspect, like it's not that complicated of a movie. Like, especially now, like. We have gone much further than this in filmmaking, but the fact that like this movie is still so compelling in the way it is and the form it is. They've tried to remake this movie many a time, and it's not done. It's never it's never met the expectations. The same way they try to remake Rear Window all the time. It's not the same movie. Like you can't just take this formula that you think is just like perfect. Like it's like this dramatic court case and this like no, like there is something to be said about the writing, the acting, how it all came together in the time that it did, and yet it is still. I don't sit here and look at this movie and go, "Oh, it's so old." Like,
Yeah, I didn't care at all.
Yeah.
If anything, it added to the story and the experiences that, they're going through and everything. Like,
What's with
I don't know.
the weird paper towel holder there? It's like reusable paper towels. No, I will say it's crazy how much of a budget that they used. So, at one hand, it's a small, pitiful budget when you compare it to like Hollywood movies nowadays.
yeah.
But on the other hand, it's still like their budget for this movie was $337,000, which in today's money is $3.5 million.
Which is insane.
Yeah. I mean, I guess they gotta pay everybody.
To compare it to like Thor: Love and Thunder, which just came out, Thor: Love and Thunder had a budget of $250 million, 100 times the budget.
Yeah.
But I will also say it was like a small budget, but to me, I still sometimes feel like, where'd that budget go?
It's the actors.
They paid everybody.
It's every actor under an extremely strict contract under Lionsgate. Like the studio that made this in the time that they made it, every single one of these actors was in like a legally binding contract with the studio. Like they couldn't go make movies with other studios. They couldn't do lots of things. It's probably their entire lead of like male cast that the studio had.
Yeah, that they have on
payroll essentially.
Yeah.
And
But
way
also,
back,
like, there are a lot, I know you guys know this, but there's a lot of things that go into movies, even simple movies like this. Like, obviously, you gotta pay all the actors, you gotta pay all the editors and the lighting people, and you gotta feed everybody. Like, we think of these big blockbuster movies, and all the money is going to, like, all the shit they blow up, and, like, all the, the CGI and stuff.
Yeah, those
But there's,
studios, the CGI studios are going out of business because they're not making enough money to pay for this, like the cost of what it costs to make Thor's hammer do what it does. Like,
yeah, yeah, but it's like we don't. When you hear like, I would think that too. Like hearing how much they spent on 12 Angry Men is like, where'd that go? But then like, we don't know how long it took them to film this, and. All the little things that go into movies is where it went.
Yeah, this movie I think very easily could be translated to like a stage play. Like,
yeah, easily.
Yeah,
it would probably do really well as a play.
I would actually love to see that because
I would go see that.
Because what would be hard about it is it really can't stop. Like, there's a couple moments for intermission, but like the dialogue is nonstop, and there are 12 people acting all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and they're all
and everybody's on stage
personalities.
the whole time.
They're all different personalities.
Yeah. No, I think it would be.
It's so good. It's so good. I love this. This is my favorite movie that we've watched so far.
It is a 100% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
As it should be. Like,
yeah. I asked Alexa what the movie was about because I literally didn't know anything, and I'm allergic to trailers. I don't watch trailers. I don't know if I've ever said that on here. I don't like watching them.
You haven't, and we're gonna dive deeper in that in a second.
I don't like trailers at all.
This trailer's
sometimes they give away too much. Sometimes they give me false pretenses of what the movie's gonna be like. Sometimes I don't like the way they sway judgment. I don't like trailers. I don't watch them. But I'll read a synopsis, but I don't watch trailers. But anyway, so. What I asked her, she said it had a 9 out of 10, and I was like, I've literally never heard her say that. Never. And then she said how many reviews there were. I think it's like 70-something thousand, and I was like, okay.
You're like, this is setting a really high bar and really go. This trailer, Jeff, if you haven't watched this trailer too, like go. Not right now, obviously, but like. This trailer is hysterical. I literally laughed out loud at it.
I mean, I'll watch it now.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter because I saw the movie.
Yeah.
Hmm.
One of the other things I love about this movie, truly, is that our media growing up continued to reference this like a million times, whether you realize it or not. Like this, there is an episode of Hey Arnold. Hey Arnold's one of my favorite animated shows of all time.
Hmm.
Yeah, Arnold's great.
There's an episode called False Alarm where Eugene gets framed for pulling the fire alarm by Curly. It's 10 minutes, so I went and watched it for this week. and
You're above and beyond.
I know, Jeff just hates that I go above and beyond.
Well, if I had remembered that this was a thing, I would have watched it too. I love Hey Arnold.
Yeah, no, this is worth it. It's on Paramount Plus. Especially if you watch the movie and then watch the episode like immediately after. The amount of references to the movie in this 10-minute episode of Hey Arnold is incredible. It proves how smart some of the cartoons and things we were watching as kids were.
Oh yeah, we had no idea.
It's like one of those things where like I sat and watched those kid shows with my dad growing up, and Dad's like, Harold's like one of the greatest TV shows of all time. Like he's sitting there going, yeah, no, this is real good. Like, and like I know why now. Like, I'm watching it going, this is the like perfect recreation of this story, but told in a perspective for kids to understand, even to references with the knife. Like there are moments that you're like, yep, that was pulled directly out of this movie. Is Joe about to tell us that he loved this movie?
I will say, to prepare for this movie, Dave, I got on jury duty. I went to jury duty and I said not guilty. I went above and beyond, Dave.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I did all of that in 1 week.
Yeah,
That's how I went above and beyond. Can you top that?
And no, I can't.
No,
Joe.
I will say that this movie is, I would say, parodied in a good way across many different shows.
Yeah.
And many different things. Have you ever watched the show Monk?
I did way back when it came out.
I've seen a couple episodes.
So there's an episode of Monk where it was Monk gets jury duty and he was the one juror who said not guilty.
Yeah.
So it's often parodied across a lot of shows. And that's when you know it's like a good movie, is to where the trope can come up in so many different
scenarios.
Shows. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I remember, I don't like Family Guy very much, but I feel like I remember this movie being referenced in Family Guy before.
I think Family Guy has referenced every single movie on this poster.
Sure they have. I'm sure they have.
Guys, 12 Angry Men. It's this like we're supposed to sit here and go like, do we think this movie belongs on this poster? Do we think people should?
No-brainer, dude.
Like no, like it's 100%. This this belongs here.
I would say it belongs here, just not only because it can show film students you don't need a great budget to make a great movie. It's you don't need action to make a compelling movie. It's like it shows that as long as you have good writing and good actors, you can make any plot or anything great.
Yeah. If you have it, you have it. Like that's it.
Period.
And the whole thing, you still don't know anything about like the case that was presented. You just know about the case just from what they were talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so good. It was so good. I keep sitting here trying to think of like a critique for this movie, but I can't come up with one.
When I booted up the poster on iTunes and saw it, and it was like a colored picture of every single person, like I was like, don't tell me they colorized this movie. Don't tell me they don't tell me they like updated it to make it look modern in any way. Like no, absolutely not. Like I can't. It doesn't, like, yes, it's obviously dated, but it feels like a period piece. Like it feels like an intentional.
Don't touch it. Leave it alone.
Like there's nothing I want done to this. I don't want it remade. I don't want it changed. I sit here and go, do I have a complaint for this movie?
I can't think of one.
My complaint is they called it 12 Angry Men.
Yeah,
And
I
it
guess the
wasn't.
title's not strong.
No, it wasn't 12 Angry Men. It was the one guy was so angry he wanted this guy found guilty no matter what.
Yeah, that guy had issues for sure.
Because he had a relationship issue with his own son. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is because he had some baggage and he was putting it on this
Yeah.
father-son duo.
And it could show like how bias can really impact a
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, a jury for sure.
Man, it seems crazy to me. Can you imagine, like, is this what happens in like a real courtroom where they tell you that the guy's going to be put to death before you make your judgment?
I mean, yeah, everybody knows what the outcome of a murder trial is. That's public knowledge.
Well, no, not. I mean, what do you mean? It's like
It's either life or the death penalty. Like it's one of those two things. Like
No,
what other?
some murder trials are only 10 to 15 years. It's not
yeah,
most of the
No,
time.
that's like manslaughter or something. This is like a first-degree murder charge.
yeah, it's the difference.
Everyone knows the outcome of it. It's either going to be life in prison or the death penalty.
It's a difference in kind of charge.
To tell somebody right off the bat, this guy is going to be put to death.
I mean, like I said, it's public knowledge. Like, if you live in a state where the death penalty is what they do, then as soon as they're like, it's a murder trial, right off the bat that if this guy is convicted guilty, he's going to get put to death. You might not know the method unless they tell you.
Wow,
But,
I didn't even know that. First degree murder, which is capital punishment, is unless you're under 18, it's either death or life without parole.
Yeah.
What? I didn't know that.
Yeah, man. That's why there's different levels of murder.
I mean, first degree murder is you basically planned it.
Yeah.
You planned it. You didn't do it in the heat of the moment, and it was like you planned this out.
Yeah, and I feel, and this is, never mind. I'm not going to get into personal biases here. Like, we're not about to get into a political discussion about whether we think this is right or not.
Yeah, we're not going to go there.
But like, at the same time, it's like this. I appreciate this movie for not taking what was happening lightly at all.
Yeah.
Like,
Definitely.
now, what the concerning part is, there were 11 men in that room with 12 people who immediately jumped to guilty.
Yeah, they were ready.
They were
just
ready.
Wanted to get out of there.
Yeah.
Go to their
get it over with.
go to their baseball game, do whatever.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, and like, that's the concern with the entire system. But once again, it perfectly comments on the reality of what we live in.
But I had to show that there was one jury who, like, the other people probably coasted along, listened to stuff, and that one person like went above and beyond. Like you're Dave Moore, who went to the neighborhood, went to a shop and bought the switchblade.
Because I would go above and beyond if I were a juror. I would go to the shop and go see. I remember the first time I did watch this movie. This is the one thing I do remember about it, is going to my dad and talking to my dad about it, because I think he was literally on jury duty that week.
That's crazy.
And he was like, yeah, no, like the case we were at, like, obviously not charged for murder, but he's like, the impression that I got was this is like a young, like an 18-year-old kid, like at this case, who was being charged for a crime that basically a bunch of bad people in this neighborhood did, like for stealing this car. And like, he's like, it doesn't seem very clear that this is the kid who did it, right? But like, a kid in this neighborhood who's probably associated with this kid did it, but this is the kid being charged with it.
Yeah.
And I thought, like, my dad's perspective on that was fascinating. Like, he's like, yeah, well, it's not. Like, it's definitely, there is a reasonable doubt. Like, this kid is being charged, but like,
there's definite reasonable doubt. I would have a hard time saying guilty too now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think my dad told me the outcome of that case, but like, he's like, that's the debate we had to have in the room. Like,
Yeah.
Your dad was in a murder trial?
Not a murder trial.
No, it was like what, Grand Theft Auto?
Yeah, it was like an 18-year-old kid stealing a car, except like Like, basically, the case proved that it was, like, one of these other 12 kids. And this is,
Yeah.
you know, this is the kid they grabbed off the street and who they're charging with it.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, that's wrong in its own way, but that's a whole nother conversation. I think because of this movie, I will never take jury duty lightly, ever, any kind of case. Even if it was, like, graffiti. Like,
I was on grand jury duty, Dave.
okay.
So it's like when you choose, it's not like a trial, it's where you choose to indict people, whether you think there's enough evidence to indict people, right?
Okay.
Right? There's a thing. So basically, I present you evidence and you vote to indict them, which would bring it to court.
Okay.
And what I found, what they explained, is they usually tacked on a bunch of charges to what happened, like kidnapping and this and that and this and that and this, with the intent thinking that like stuff will get removed during the trial.
Yeah.
During the deliberations.
Something's gonna stick and something, you know, and things will get dropped. Yeah.
They purposely put as many, like, you know, stuff on it.
I hate this so much. Like, and this is my thing, and this is a part that I think a lot of us need to take away, not only from this movie but just in general in life. Like people who are criminals, like who get charged with things, like we don't know the story. Like, we never know the story, and it doesn't
100%.
It doesn't matter. Like, yeah, that person did this thing, but like, haven't we all done something shitty in our lives? Like, whether we got away with it or not, right? Like,
it's just different varying levels of shitty.
yeah, like not just murder, and like just like in general levels of it. Like, we all know, like, there was a reason that we did that thing. Right? Like, but that's never the question in these courtrooms. It's never the thing. Like, they try to prove a motive for like the reason they did it, but like, what's the actual like emotional reason we got to this point kind of thing? Like, what people get charged with all sorts of stuff, and like, that doesn't make that person a bad person. We don't know why they did it. We don't know what happened. It might have been what they had to do. And so, like...
Yeah, I think that's why there's so many different... I know we're not just talking about murder now.
Yeah.
We're talking about, like, crime in general. But I think that's why there's so many different levels of murder. Because we, as humans, have to consider the reasons. Because self-defense is a thing. Like, if you come at me with a knife and I defend myself and I happen to kill you... fuck, like, that sucks, you know, but I wasn't trying to die, so...
Right, you were... Yeah, it's just the extreme.
You know, so it's important to consider the reasons that things are happening.
It's also important to consider when you know somebody who's been charged with something, like, to not immediately judge that person for whatever they did. Like, you don't know why they got charged with that.
Yeah.
You don't know why this person is labeled in this way that they are.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. It's all so interesting. That's what I mean when I say the movie, like, brings into thought, like, literally the human experience. Mm-hmm. Because everyone is capable of crime.
Everyone.
Like, everybody. Now, you could go your whole life without committing any, and that's great.
That's what you should do.
Capable. Yeah, that's what you should do.
That's what we're suggesting, everybody. Don't
Be
commit.
a law-abiding citizen.
Yeah, don't.
Do you think there's anybody who goes through life without committing a single crime in their life?
Maybe. It's not me.
I think most everybody that I've known, I don't think there's one person I know that hasn't committed at least one crime.
Yeah. I don't know anyone.
Even on a mild scale, right? Like,
yeah, because even like pirating music back in the day or movies, like that's crime. Technically.
Jaywalking technically is a crime.
Yeah, you're right. Jaywalking is technically a crime. We can go bigger than that. shoplifting. Everyone did that in middle school, no?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, never done that, Shy. Never. Not in my life.
Never.
What are you
No, of
talking
course.
about here?
I'm the only one. I'm evil.
I like
How much did you shoplift? What?
Yeah. I see a crown on your head. Where'd that come from?
Oh, don't worry about it.
I will say this is a very
We don't commit. We don't admit to incriminating ourselves on this podcast.
Listen, the statute of limitations is over by now. For me, anyway. I don't know about you guys.
Okay. Nobody wants to know what I did yesterday. That's basically what I'm saying.
What did you do yesterday, Dave? What are you talking about?
This is proof that this movie is amazing.
When did you watch this movie,
Oh,
Dave?
God.
When?
When did you watch this movie?
What day is it? Sunday? Friday night?
Sunday.
Friday night?
What movie did you watch last? You can't even remember when you watched this movie.
Friday night.
All right.
Right before our stream.
Procrastinator.
The last thing I watched is Futurama. I'm trying to get Rachel to watch Futurama.
She
Oh.
doesn't watch Futurama.
She's never seen it.
What?
I know.
So I will say this is one of the a very culturally important movie.
Go watch it.
I love this movie. Go watch it.
Yeah, that's it. That's the whole show, everybody.
It's
Go,
a,
go, go.
it's a second best courtroom movie.
second
all time.
second best.
What's the first best?
Yeah, Jeff.
To Kill a Mockingbird.
Oh.
Ever watch that movie?
I don't know if
I read the book. I never watched the movie.
I don't know if I agree with that being in the same category.
When was the last, it's a courtroom. I'm talking about courtroom drama.
No,
I'd have to read it again. I read the book like years and years and years ago.
They
I don't
call
remember.
this a courtroom drama. I wouldn't technically classify this as a courtroom drama movie.
Court drama, for sure. If we're being specific about location, then I guess not. But it's definitely a court drama.
Dave, what are you doing there?
I'm looking to see if To Kill a Mockingbird is on our list.
Let's see. That's what I was looking too.
Could
I was
be.
also.
I've never seen it. I've only read the book, but that was like, I don't even know how long ago.
If you tell me that The Goonies is on here, but not To Kill a Mockingbird,
Is the
Dave,
Goonies really on this list?
Yeah, it is.
Well, maybe 12 Angry Men outweighed To Kill a Mockingbird. Maybe they only
if
wanted
you're
to
telling
do
me that
coordination.
Boys in the Hood is in here,
Stop. Not Boys in the Hood.
if you're telling me Doctor Strangelove or How I Figured Out How to Love the Bomb, I think that's how it was. Doctor Strangelove, the entire title.
Her is on this list. There's a lot of movies we could eliminate, guys.
Oh yeah, it's Doctor Strangelove or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb.
We're not eliminating anything unless we can't get to it.
Yeah,
Like Amelie.
All right, Dave.
And
It's
we're only-
not on here.
we're only-
It's not. A,
Temporarily skipping Amelie. We're not gonna skip it completely. We just got to figure out the correct way to watch it.
Mm.
if you're telling me Snatch is on here,
It
it's
is on
not To
here.
Kill a Mockingbird.
We'll just replace it, Jeff. We won't tell anybody. Guys, go watch this movie. That's it. That's
Oh,
that's
okay.
Go
that's
watch this movie.
Go do
It's
it.
really
Go watch
important.
it right now.
Shaun of the Dead is on this movie, and not Citizen Kane.
no, Citizen Kane's on here.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, it is.
Oh.
Yeah, it is. Citizen Kane's on this list.
I went through this list. Oh, there it is. Okay,
Yeah.
Let's
but To Kill a
movie.
Mockingbird isn't on here.
No, To Kill Mockingbird is not on here. We should probably add it to the honorable mentions that we'll do in 2 years.
Yeah.
Or when we feel like divulging from the list at one point.
I can't believe Okay, I'm sorry. All right, our next movie, 12 Angry Men, is a consensus on our list that belongs on this list.
Yeah, so
Yes.
Blade Runner is next.
yeah.
Oh, fun.
Blade Runner is the next. I've never watched this movie before. I've only heard good things.
I've been dying to watch it. Actually, Joe and I were just talking about how we want to watch this movie.
Okay,
Because
yeah.
they came out with a new one, didn't they?
Yeah, Blade Runner 2049 is the new one. Here's
Yeah.
we're gonna run into a bit of a problem.
Okay.
Because that's our pattern. Blade Runner has a bunch of different cuts. Jeff, who's got Google in front of him.
I guess we have to choose one then, huh?
Yeah.
Don't we all technically have Google in front of us?
Technically, yes.
Yeah, yes, but you're not blind. So,
Yeah, it's faster when you do it.
What do you mean different cuts? Just get Blade Runner.
there's a director's cut. There's an extended cut. There's a
Why are we
theatrical.
doing-
There's a
Okay,
theatrical
which
Just
cut.
one-
watch the one on
Which one
Netflix.
is
There's
the-
one on
yeah,
Netflix.
Which
Okay.
one's on Netflix?
Okay, that's fair. Although if it asks me which cut, I don't know what to watch. So just
Well, just watch the shortest one if it asks you which cut.
7 different versions of
Yes.
Blade Runner
Yeah.
exist?
yeah. It's been released like a million different times. This
That's,
is and
that's too many.
And if you're in film school, this is the worst part in film school. I've seen this movie one time. Ask me what cut. I couldn't tell you. I don't know which cut I saw.
Well, should we watch like the director's cut because that's how he intended it to be,
Oh,
or should we
The
watch?
director's cut came out in 1992.
There's a consistent debate in film school, and this is a thing about this. This is our pre-discussion for this movie. You'll get into a room and a bunch of film nerds will get into a really big argument about what the best cut of Blade Runner is. And it's really obnoxious when you don't really know what the differences are, and no one gives you like a good explanation of what the differences are.
Okay, well, we're not going to watch all 7 of them. So,
Well,
Blade
I go above and beyond. I've got 7 days.
well, you can do that,
You-
sir.
You're watching a Blade Runner
You
every
go
day.
for
of the week. So
I'm
Blade
not-
Runner, the final cut, has been voted the best version of the film, and is the one on Netflix.
All right.
All right, that's what we're watching.
Definitive Blade Runner. It should have AD. It probably doesn't, just to hate us all. But
It totally could.
But you
it
need
could.
it for this one.
Why are they fighting and shit?
No, there's just a lot of like details going on.
I mean,
This is one that I might actually.
5, I guess.
Okay, the director's cut is different from the theatrical cut. The theatrical cut was a straightforward cop thrill, and the director's cut is a deeper, thoughtful, and introspective sci-fi story. And the finals cut is the same as director's cut, but with a few artistic tweaks and fixes to clear up minor plot holes in the original film. A lot of people recommended that one.
I'm just gonna watch whatever's on Netflix, and Dave's gonna watch all 7 of them, and, and that's gonna be it. Okay, I'm just glad this one's on frickin' Netflix. Okay, that's so much easier.
This movie's cool. This is a cool movie. We shouldn't all be
I
worried
know.
going
I've
into.
heard. My dad really likes these movies.
My dad likes this movie. This is one of the few movies my dad does like. This.
What do you mean
this-
the one of the few movies?
My
that
dad,
you
we've gone through this. My dad just flips. He's just flipping. He's watching Seinfeld and the sports
yeah,
game.
he flips.
Yeah. he
So
just-
if he sees Blade Runner, he just stops flipping, watches it.
yeah, he'll watch 15 minutes and then he'll go back to insert sports game, then back to Seinfeld, and then he'll go watch the last
He flips.
10 minutes of Blade Runner. Because he's
It's like
seen.
when I used to see the Titanic on like ABC Family. I would watch like 20 minutes of it, go watch something else, come back, and where are we now? All right, cool. Watch whatever, go back. Like, I don't know. I get it.
Shai, do you follow that Titanic guy on TikTok?
Oh my gosh!
Titanic guy?
Did you find this? Did I show you this guy? Yeah,
I don't
showed
know.
this guy.
I see every one of his videos, whether I want to or not. Titanic is
I
on
know.
our list.
I didn't follow it for a month. They still popped up.
Yeah, no, he's doing some scary thing to be on my FYP. Hey, it's Titanic! I've got 700 copies of Titanic on
And Jack
VHS.
is so happy. Oh man!
Listen, now that you guys have brought it up, it's gonna show up on my shit.
I'm gonna send it to
I've
you.
never seen it before. Don't send it to
Titanic
me.
fan
97.
only collects VHS copies of Titanic.
He has a cardboard cutout of Jack Dawson.
No, it's not a cardboard cutout.
it's a
He
doll.
found at a thrift store an actual like puppet or something, like doll. It's not a cardboard.
Oh, I thought it was
cutout.
cardboard.
And he taped his face to it.
Oh. It's horrendous.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to get him on the show.
How do you get him? If you can get him on the
get
show,
him to come
I'd be
here,
amazed.
and we'll go to get him to come here to Florida, and we'll go to the Titanic Museum.
I think he lives in
He
Florida.
he has one where he went to the Titanic Museum.
Oh, okay.
And he brought Jack Dawson with him, his puppet. He also
God.
brought him to amusement park and stuff.
Oh,
And he has 218 copies of Titanic on VHS.
on VHS.
Do they all have like the same cover, or does he just like?
Oh, no,
whenever
he-
he sees a VHS, he just buys
He
it.
He
his entire
actively goes to the thrift store to look for them and buy them.
his entire TikTok channel is him going to thrift stores trying to find VHS copies of Titanic. It's always two cassettes. It's cassette 1 and 2.
Yeah, it comes.
And-
it
yeah,
comes in.
yeah, and then he also desperately gets super excited in like the creepiest way when he finds a widescreen edition. It's the worst.
And he has like
This is-
100,000. He has a lot of followers, and they all send him stuff.
Oh yeah, no, he'll get mail. He gets mailed copies, and like one dude sent him like 3 copies of Titanic on VHS, and like one of them had like brown goo on it, and it was like ew, like
All right.
Oh my god! All right.
To go back to 12 Angry Men. one
Oh, yeah,
last
sorry.
thing. 12 Angry Men, all but 3 minutes of this film take place in the one room.
Yeah.
of the hour and a half plus movie.
I thought I
96
had
minutes.
when it started. I thought I had accidentally started it in the middle of the film or something. When the judge was like, "And now you're gonna go deliberate," and I was like, "Wait, did I miss the trial? What did I do?" I was like, "What did I do?"
The jury will now retire.
Yeah.
Guys, go watch 12 Angry Men. Go follow Titanic Fan 97 on TikTok.
Do not send me.
Send a
videos.
few videos. To
Oh,
her,
I'm
so
gonna
No,
share them to
don't
all.
do that.
It's like a curse. Once he shows up on your For You page, they just get.
Yeah, he'll
I
never.
don't
You'll
want
never.
that.
He'll never go away.
They won't. I'll tell you, they won't.
Oh my
you
god.
can go to the little ... and check not interested, and it still keeps coming.
Oh god. All right. Well.
Here, we'll play our music, of course. This is the Flick Network. We talk about movies. We watch bucket list movies, 100 bucket list movies. I'm Dave Moore. You can follow me at Tell You Dave everywhere, and I run the Snack Network where we taste new foods. That's a thing. You can follow Shy, Not So Shy, on everything.
Everywhere.
And Shy is spelled with an X.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's because it's cool. And Jeffrey's at Jeffrey Daily on Twitter, but he doesn't take advantage of that. And
I don't take advantage of any social media.
you can follow Jeff on TikTok at a big F and Jeff.
Yeah.
He doesn't post
It's
there.
a good one.
He doesn't post there, but you can follow him. And
I'm thinking about switching my TikTok name or any name. I really like the name Savage Randy.
we'll see you
What
guys
is it,
next
South
time.
Park? What's happening?
I don't know. It just sounds funny.
Our music is
The
there we
Flick
go.
Network. We watch movies. We talk movies.
It's my birthday.
Online movie friends. The Flick Network.
Happy birthday, Shy. This show is part of the Snack Network LLC.